All right, for some of you guys just coming in, someone give me a sound check. Always got to do sound check before we get started, please. Hey, Jerry, what's going on, buddy? Market is finally showing some movement, so hopefully we get to see some of these calls finally start to play out. ETH is straight being a little bitch, though. Not doing what we want ETH to do or what it was showing to do all weekend. Yeah, I agree. Lazy Sunday, so I did some morning cardio and had a healthy lunch. We're gonna knock out a live stream. I'll probably take a small nap and then probably head back to the gym because we're going to Vegas in April. If anybody happens to be in the area or plans to be in the area, if you guys want to do a meetup or something, not a family elevate meetup, but just maybe if a couple of you guys just happen to be in the area. So that's April. So we're trying to get back in shape for that trip. How's it going, Eduardo? Let me post the link in the announcements here. Okay, put that back over there. Okay, so looks like Bitcoin has so far been right on track from what we've been following here. We've been pretty well short since quite some time now. Looks like quite a few weeks we've been following this in both directions. Looks like this 8400 area was a really great swing short area. And then we noted here, let's see, this is last Tuesday. So this is the 15th. That we first started calling 7900s down here. So we've been following this thing down, and it looks like we are right on track. And now this is when we kind of switched up and cleaned up the chart a little bit to get rid of some old channels. And here's our first support zone that we noted that we were looking for right here in that 7700 to 7900 range. Okay, so we're still, let's see, this last update is still last week. Still watching for that low time frame scalp, which hadn't presented itself right here. Still not advising any long positions yet because look where we were with this price. We were still creeping up on 8,000 there. So if anybody was playing with some decent leverage by the time it got down in this support zone here, you could have been sitting in a pretty decent loss. So the optimal entry didn't present itself yet. And again, still noted here, this is what we wanted to see. We wanted to see it come down into the support zone and show some consolidation pattern. And then there it is. There, this wick right here. And I can't zoom in on this, guys, because we're just kind of going back on the screenshot here. But this was the zone that we were looking for. And you can see this wick right there, which got a low time frame push that we were looking for in this support zone. So this kind of gave the signal here off of this wick that we are going to respect this support zone. So we've been following this for well over a week now, waiting on this zone to hit. And here we hit it. Now, I still didn't advise longs yet because we did not see the consolidation pattern that we wanted to see yet. We still wanted to see this kind of bounce around sideways right there. And that's noted right here. We're looking for consolidation in the green zone. The MACD on this one wasn't showing that strength yet. Look where it is. It hasn't rounded that corner yet. Here on this is a 6-hour chart. So it didn't quite round that corner yet. Still kind of stuck right there in the center. So it still could have trickled down. And that's what we were wanting to see. But we weren't short yet either because we were in this zone. We were closing shorts from that 8400 mark. So we were right on track so far with this. And then this is the other day. We got that quick little pop there, but I didn't like it. I didn't like how quick that jumped up, and we didn't see enough consolidation pattern there. Thank you, Aaron, for correcting me on here I said 9,800. I meant to say 7,800s. But hopefully everybody had common sense to know that I didn't mean 9,800s, because that's way up here and we haven't even touched yet. Okay, so that giant push right there quickly rejected into a nasty wick. That's why I advise not to FOMO that. Do not long that. It wasn't ready. So here we are falling back now down into support. And then here we are this morning. And this is what we wanted to see right here. This was that kind of sideways choppiness right here that we wanted to see. We wanted to see some more consolidation into that pattern. And then look at our MACD here. It got that round over, and we see it wanting to cross right there. Our OBV right here is in a bullish push. So this is where we wanted to see consolidation of the support zone hold. And that's what we got exactly. And then here we are with the 12-hour. Not fully quite there yet on the 12-hour. But you see the clear uptrend in the OBV. So this was a good play that we're following here. And then now we see what the result of that was this morning, or since this morning. So this is the 8-hour chart that we just looked at. So this is going back to this from this morning, just under 8,000. Right here, somewhere kind of towards the bottom of this candle right here. So now we see the MACD has fully crossed over bull here, got a nice green histogram. OBV is trending bull, RSI is bull. But look at the RSI here. There's no reset down here sub 30, so we're still not looking for major ultra big targets yet. So this has so far played out absolutely perfect, all the way from 8,400 up here where we had some swing shorts. So we are now right into that zone. Showed the consolidation pattern that we wanted to. Crossed over bull on our MACD. OBV in an uptrend. So we want to see this rejection zone right here first at about 81, 8,200 or so. Right here, kind of chopping through these wicks and these candles right here. You see some wick bottoms, cutting through some candle tops here, and there's a wick bottom there and tops of candles there. So this is what we want to see for our first target. And by chance, if this kind of just wiggles its way up and comes back and then wiggles back up here to this 8,400 mark to retest this high up here and retest the upper part of that trend line right there. So once again, we of course will follow this all the way through and kind of help walk everybody through it. But so far, spot on play. Not advising any FOMO longs, anybody that, hopefully nobody FOMO'd on that big pump candle the other day that quickly got rejected and fell back. Okay, so that's what we are seeing right now, and I'm still waiting for this target up here to 9,000. It's got to come at some point. We're missing a bounce. So this support zone right here, look, we're some wicks here, and then candle bodies and wicks here, and some more wicks here, and then so this is quite telling that we may have found a temporary bottom, and we may get that push up there to that 9K region, maybe only as high as 86, 8,700, in case the bears decide to front run us again. So if we follow this trend line here, that puts us right up there. We should possibly see, you can see the wick rejection here, matching some candles and wicks down here. So if that were to play out, that 9,000 would be a great point to start looking at shorts. Only on confirmation though, of course. So now let's zoom out here to some higher time frames. See the daily pushback bull on that histogram there. OBV is still bull. So what I wanted to show really though was this 3-day. Okay, so here on the 3-day, look at the MACD just kind of snaking its way down. So now what we're seeing is with the support hold, we should get that push. Can I delete that line right there? You guys not going to be mad at me there, are you? Nice little 3-day candle popping back up there. So what I want to see here on the MACD now, it's not a full reset. Even though it did cross under the neutral line, it's not a full reset. So it'll come up and maybe we'll catch that bounce, and we'll probably still likely chop in this range for, this is 3 days, so maybe 2 weeks, 2 more weeks or so. We'll probably chop in that range, come back up, get a little bit of reset, and then we're going to fall back down. So if that plays out, then it's going to do exactly what we wanted. Maybe up here, maybe even get that scam wick up to 9,000, and then we're just going to fall back down and snake its way back down to sub 7,000 probably even. So that is what we're looking at for Bitcoin. We're going to play this day by day as we do. We're going to flip it in both directions. I don't care for price because we can make money going both ways, and that's exactly what we're doing and going to do. So great call earlier this morning. If anybody happened to be awake and catch that long, we're already about 6 hours now from this morning call. So it's looking pretty good, and we're starting to see some local resistance rejections right here, but our 8 hour is still overly in a bullish trend. So again, I'm not expecting, just because this cross bull, I'm not expecting we're going to get $2,000 green dildo candle like Twitter is probably still saying. So this is what I see, guys. I mean, 12 hours looking cross bull. It's all looking pretty good right now. Good for longs. Yep. So that's Bitcoin. We're still gonna update this and walk you guys through this step by step. So hopefully you guys both make money off of this. At the same time, also learn something from what we're looking at and what we're seeing. So Bitcoin is right on track so far from what we've been watching for over a week now. As you can go back through my calls channels, and you can see that we've been following this all the way back from 8,800 even, it seems. So there we are. Here we are still again in this deep channel. Here's that 8,100 mark that we obviously dipped further down to. So we've been following this for quite some time, and it's so far right on track. Now Ethereum, on the other hand, is being a real bitch. Ethereum is not really playing by the rules. I think both Satoshi and I both have this leading diagonal. And we both had a similar pattern down. Now again, don't mind my Elliott wave counts. This probably isn't even an ABCDE. For all I know, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or an XYZ, or a ZR, AC something. I don't know. Don't care. I just put some kind of pattern here to show what we would want to see for this leading diagonal to play out. And I think we both had a target down here in the 130s. The problem is the bulls are really fighting to hold this support zone that we've been trying to get underneath for quite some time. Now look at the 8 hour here. We're crossing bull on the 8 hour. OBV has flattened out right here. And trying to get that kick up to push back bull there too. I mean, the bulls are really fighting to hold above 170. So this one is not playing by the rules so far. But we don't want to see higher than this 183 area right here. So if anybody on low time frames is scalping longs, we do not want to see higher than this, or the bulls are going to take back over fully. Because if the bulls come up, if the bulls hold this 170 mark and they come up and they break off into here and then they get above here about that 190 mark, they can easily flip this resistance back into support, and then they're going to push it back up into the 200s. So that is certainly an option and a scenario that we want to be prepared for, because again, we don't care what direction it goes, we'll play it both ways. Alright, so let's zoom out to daily. So daily hasn't quite shown that strength fully yet. This could easily drop back to about the 172s, 171s on some lower time frames, and it'll push this pink histogram right here back bare. So we're not fully sold on it yet there. Now, two different patterns here on the OBV for daily. We can draw a trend line from there up there, and now we broke that trend line. So now we got a backline test right there off of this candle. This is about 3 days ago. So we could consider this a trend line break. I don't like going out like this. This doesn't make sense because I don't go for just 1 point and just create imaginary second point. The other direction is that we can flip this the opposite way, and now we're looking at a downtrend in the OBV. So we can make a channel. We got 1, 2, 3 touches going in the negative direction there on the bearish. And then we got 1, 2, 3, and now we're testing that again. So this could push out of this little falling wedge on the OBV there. So F is being, Ethereum rather, is being a little bitch. 2-day, look at the 2-day here. 2-day is on the verge of going either way. This could do this little dinosaur kiss right here and then push back up. Or it could actually fall a little bit lower on lower time frames and then fall back under. It's just not playing by the rules. So the original calls for ETH still stand. If we're under 170, we're still bear. This zone right here was the zone that we have been looking at and following for several days now. So we're bull above 172, bear under 170. Because if we start breaking this support and we get a candle close under this support line, then we have our 2 other targets here. Now this is not really a heavy support zone. Well, maybe it could be. Maybe it could be that lower 160 because we got some confluence going further back into the chart history. But if you look down here, this is some heavy confluence. So we really, for the bears, that 130 area, this is some really heavy confluence zone. So that would be a great place for some shorts to land. And then we can flip long there. But it's just not playing by the rules here. Okay, so that's what we see for ETH. I'm not taking this trade. Let's see, let's go out to 3-day. What's 3-day show? See, 3-day even shows it wants a little bit of a reset. You see the OBV slightly in downtrend there. What's weekly show? Weekly is trying. It is trying to round out. So this could very well still grind in this zone. It still could even hit this middle, this low 160 area as well. OBV on the weekly is in a downtrend. Look how it kind of topped out right there, and going back in meeting some previous tops here in the history of the OBV. ETH is tricky. I don't like ETH. Bitcoin obviously has shown more clearer strength. So our notes originally still stands. We're bull above 173 with targets in the 180s. Bear under 170 with targets at the lower 160s. And then there could be a nasty fall down to the 130s. So be very, very careful on Ethereum. Satoshi probably understands the trading of Ethereum a whole lot better than I do. So he may have some better insight. But I think we both had a leading diagonal there. Let's see what he's got. Bitcoin. Oh, that's... Let's see. Okay, so this is FBTC, FBTC. I could have sworn I saw he had a leading diagonal somewhere. Oh, this is F Bitcoin. Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm sorry. There it is. Okay, it just would help if I opened up his channel. Okay, so yeah, I had a feeling that he had the same thought process I did. Obviously, just with his Elliott wave theory, and we both had a target into the lower 160s. So it is a leading diagonal pattern. It is just fighting really, really hard to hold this damn support. I don't know why the bulls are fighting so hard right there, but they are. So notes still stand, guys. Bull above 173 with targets at 180. We're bear under 170. So this is a no trade for me. This looks like a good bit of chop. However, the bulls do look like they want to take over right there and get that little push. So it could very well only hit 178 up here and maybe test that trend line and then fall. So I'm going to wait for a little bit more action on that one. Okay, let's move over to, let's look at some altcoins. Let's start with Dominance. Okay, so Dominance, daily chart here. Dominance, we were looking at a falling wedge pattern from the last update. You could probably even, depending on who you ask, I don't know, consider that a bull flag, bull pennant, whatever. I'm just going to call it a falling wedge. And this was the support that we were looking for to break into the lower 160s that we've held. I think the last update we were somewhere right here or something. I don't remember, but still rejected under that first resistance. So now it looks like we're about to break over this falling wedge here. We're about to break up into some bullish territory. For Dominance, we don't want to see higher than 70 or it could crush alts. We just want to see a little dead cat bounce, get a little push up, and we're still going to see like the major alts that have gone on big runs. We're still going to likely see them fall as Dominance increase. A lot of alts that have altcoins that have held their supports for quite some time should either still hold or start to see some reversals. But I would expect like Link, Ren, AMB, TNT just had a monster 300% run or something. So I would expect those alts that have seen good pushes and good moves to fall back some with this Dominance breaking this channel here. So we're going to see a little bit of a dead cat bounce. Be careful on alts as we get this little push, and then we expect to see some more failure. Weekly is still showing full bear. Here we are. We crossed under, well, that was a month ago almost now that we went under OBV on Dominance for bearishness. 2 weeks. Yep, so 2 weeks, we're rounded out. We're about to get that fall down on Dominance. So this is still maybe another month or so out from crossing under, and we should see some further significant downside. So that still leads us into Q4 of this year for the remainder of the year, that we could see some good alt moves. I'm still just expecting a few little pullbacks right here though, given this daily chart how it's shaping up, and we're crossing bull here. So only looking at a dead cat bounce with a high of 70 on Dominance. I don't want to see back all the way up here into some mid-70 territory. That would be very, very bad for altcoins, as a lot of them are pushing pretty bull on their weekly and 2 week charts. Okay, so this is Dominance. Overall trend for Bitcoin Dominance is still falling. I want to see this high 60s support break, and I want to see it start trending downwards for the Dominance and altcoins play and finish out the year strong. Okay, so we're rolling into that. Let's look at altcoin market cap. I'm sorry, I think I got the wrong chart there. This is total Coin Trader Pro. Market cap total altcoin. Nope. Okay, there, that's what we wanted to see. This one is just total market cap, which is fine too. We can look at the total market cap. Total market cap has still found support. So this is the market cap of the whole crypto community. So this is all the market cap for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all that wonderful stuff. This is all of it. Still showing a nice good uptrend for the total market cap as well. Again, going into the rest of the year, I expect us to finish off strong. And then sometime January, February, catch that downtrend going into spring, right before Bitcoin halving. So I'm expecting a sell-off early spring on the entire market. And then right before halving sometime in May, sometime around that April area, I would hope to see the market completely bottom out as a whole, and then we'll see a new round of some bullish uptrends. Okay, so for altcoin market cap, this is just altcoins. Support is still hold. Still looking to see a breakup of this falling wedge here. Still want to see some targets up here. Still want to see some money flowing into altcoins. It's got a little bit of a struggle. Weekly not quite there yet. So it doesn't look overly too strong, but it doesn't look horrible either. So for this, we could see a move like that as well. And we could see some kind of move like that as well. So we're finishing off the year. There could be some good pushes for altcoins and get some pumps on some alts, make some monies. Delete those. So it doesn't look terrible. Doesn't look all that great either. So let's take that in consideration when we're comparing the dominance to total market cap and altcoin market cap. And just be very cautious with your plays. Don't chase pumps. Don't buy coins that have already gone on big pushes. We want to look for the ones that haven't popped yet and get some movement. Okay, so let's go look at a few alts. Alright, so we're looking at Nano. Nano's one of those ones that hasn't moved yet. It's been a call that we've been following. Alright, so daily doesn't look horrible. If we zoom in, look, we got a bull cross right there over the 7-day moving average. Did cross over the 100-day moving average. So that's a pretty good sign. Great first pop this morning, though. So I hope to see by the end of the day, we got another 7 hours left. So I hope to see reclaiming this at least above 1020. So I want to see us get above this confluence zone right here. But this 1035 mark, 1040, is still really holding the whole structure down. So we've got to get a close over that. 12-hour holding well above the 200-day moving average. I like to see this wick push up there. So we're still okay. I had a buy set on this dip that I was expecting the other day at 982, but ended up pulling it to see if I can get cheaper and maybe test this wick down here at 966. But I ended up buying back at 989, which isn't too bad. That's my swing bag. And I still have my scalp bag looking for a rebuy here that I scalped for a little bit of profit this morning before heading into the gym. So it was a quick snag. Lower time frames don't look bad. Look, we're still holding here just under 1,000 Satoshi. So I want to see these moving averages hold here. I'm not overly concerned about the lower time frames if they break moving averages. It's the high time frames that we want to see. So really no change to Nano. This is a really good strong weekly. We still have this rejection here from earlier in the week, right off of the 20-day moving average on the weekly here. Sorry. Now look at the 7-day moving average. We're rounded out. We've got that strong weekly candle above. So I think the overall trend is still bull, so we're going to see this come out and just kind of wiggle its way back up. And I'd expect us to still hold on a weekly over 930. Might catch that quick wick dip down to the lower 900s, probably right there off of the 100-day move or 7-day moving average at 913. But the uptrend is still very much intact for a weekly swing. Okay, so if we wanted to compare this to something, we can look at Lind, because Lind did roughly the same thing on its weekly. Okay, so slightly different structure. So Nano would probably be right here somewhere off of this candle, rejecting off of the 20-day moving average right there. And then that stupid punk ass wick that topped me, that wicked me out right there at 41, 40 sats. And then Lind just went on a nice little monster tear right here, 150%. And I had a 4x leverage on that, so that would have been some really awesome profits. That would have been about 600% profits had I got not wicked out right there by 1 Satoshi. So just to give a comparison between Nano and Lend on what the weekly structure looks like or could look like, roughly the same story here. So this risk reward indicator here, this little long position here, if we took a bottom structure right down here at the lower 900s, this is what it's showing as a target. I'd like to see something really, really bullish for Nano and pull a Lend-like move, and I'd like to see it come up and test this lower bottom of this broken support right here for about 120%. I'll still take about 500% profit on that any day. So that's Nano for a swing. I don't see anything. I don't see anything wrong with the Nano chart from a weekly high time frame. I have my swing bags packed, and I'm going to ride this baby out. Nice OBV bullish trend, nice RSI uptrend. So it's just going to take some time. This may take another week or so to get moving. So there might be some good scalp opportunities in there. So we'll see how it shapes up. New weekly candle tonight, so I'll probably post another weekly chart for Nano a little bit later on. Okay, so let's move on to Waves. Waves has been another one that I've been following for some time now. I like the project. Got a lot of promise. It's a really solid project. And if anybody caught my tweet the other day, I don't know who this guy is, but apparently he's found something on Waves GitHub, something in their coding that links them to Chainlink. So apparently here there is a test transaction between Waves platform right there. You see that right there, Waves platform, and Chainlink. So there is a test on the transaction between the two networks, which has kind of sparked some rumors or some interest, whatnot, between a partnership between Waves and Chainlink, as I guess Chainlink has a better smart contract protocol that would benefit the Waves platform. So don't underestimate Waves. They've got a pretty solid backing. They've got a pretty solid project. And then here, whoever this guy is, made this comment here. Waves has a lot of competition to really monopolize on the market without using Chainlink for smart contract. So he's suggesting that Chainlink and Waves would be in a good partnership with one another. So I'm curious to see what other information comes out of this, as this would be quite bullish for Waves. And Chainlink too, because they're both really solid project. And here's Stacking USD. I guess he's a pretty highly respected trader. He's got a good following. Let's look at his chart. So he's got, this is a 3-day chart. So he's also looking at this for a good swing trade as well. Now look right here. He's got the volume profile indicator on right there at 1400, which has been a target zone of mine for, I don't know, about 2 weeks now since we've been following this. So that target is still going to stand, and he's got about 130% pump right here using this long position, this risk-reward ratio indicator. So I'm not saying he's wrong. I think for a swing trade, I think that 120-something% target is certainly a possibility. So looking at the chart here, we're still overall in this accumulation pattern. So now we do have this bigger falling wedge. Well, that line is way out there, isn't it? Well, then don't play it, Noza. I'm holding this for a swing trade. I don't care what it does. There's good bid support for Waves. If it dips, then I'll just add. Because it looks pretty thin all the way back up to 1040, so I'm fine with that. I'm fine with a swing trade. This is still overall in an accumulation pattern. It looks like we just made another falling wedge coming out of a bigger falling wedge. So here's 1312, and then we got 1700. So that 1400 mark on the volume profile is up there still. So that's fine if you don't want to play it. I don't care. That's wonderful. I think the weekly still looks pretty decent. Still in that accumulation pattern for the weekly, ready to come back out of it. And I'm waiting on this 2-week right here, cross bull. Waiting on that to cross bull, and I think Waves it will be just fine. So if you don't want to play it, that's fine. What is? Oh, that's his. Oh, I forgot all about that. I had Binance up here for looking at the order books. So we're looking, good bid support back here for Waves. I mean, not Waves, for Nano. Yeah, this is Nano. So good bid support for Nano, kind of thinning out, going back into the asks. You can see it right there. It looks pretty thin. All the way back up here to the 1040s, 1050s. So it doesn't look too terrible. Theta's another one that had some news out on them. PewDiePie, whatever the hell his name is. Apparently some monster gamer dude that's got like 20 million followers or something. He is partnered up with DLive, which is another gaming stream platform like Twitch, like YouTube, and all of that stuff. But apparently he is partnered up with DLive, and DLive went and partnered up with Theta Network. So they're putting their gaming platform streaming on the Theta blockchain. So I think this is also going to be very bullish in the long term for Theta for a swing trade. So no change to the chart either. Still in this triangle pattern here that we did kind of break out of that triangle pattern, but now looks like we made another smaller one. So I'm just waiting on this thing to move and get some movement. Let's look at some other older calls. I think Rep was a request this morning, or someone asked about Rep. Okay, so right off the bat, we can see an SR flip right here. We got a resistance zone that we flipped over bull right there. So as long as Rep holds above this area, Rep is fine. However, it's getting that low time frame dip right there. 7-day moving average has to cross over that 100. It's rejecting. You can see it wanting to curl back over there. You can see it rounding out right there. So if this does not get this push over, it's going to round out and it's going to fall back. So if it breaks that 970 mark, I would expect it to come back and visit this wick area down here at about 912. So whatever happened within the last hour or so, yeah, that was a pretty nasty drop right there on that hourly candle. So if this doesn't hold, could be kind of ugly for Rep here. Okay, so I just caught a glimpse of Bitcoin. So this is why we're getting some alt dips right here. Bitcoin is shooting up right here to that first target. So this is already, here we are, we got about a 3% pop, 3.5% pop since this morning. So if anybody grabbed that long this morning on the call, great job. Okay, so for now on Bitcoin, for it to see this next target up here in this 8,400 mark, it's got to break this first resistance and flip it into support. So we're starting to see that one little wick right there starting to reject at it. Look at the RSI kind of hitting that high oversold area, but that doesn't mean that it could necessarily fall right there either. 15-minute looks ugly as shit. Parabolic move, parabolic MACD, parabolic RSI. So if I was a scalper, and caught the long down here, I'd probably take some off the table or move your stop loss up to secure that in. Because that looks like it's rejecting right there at this resistance confluence zone right here on this low time frame right here. So if we're looking kind of rough right here on these low time frames, so that is a near spot on to the dollar target. We missed this by $8. So if anybody did happen to catch that long this morning, either move your stops up probably to the bottom of this confluence zone right here at about 81.30, 81.20 or so to kind of lock in those profits. And see, that's fighting hard right there. That's probably gonna close in a wick and then slowly just kind of grind out this top here and then maybe fall. So if anybody caught the long this morning, that's a great 3.5% push, and of course, you know, multiplied by whatever leverage you had, 10x, 25x, or whatnot. Still really great profits. That is a near dead-on, spot-on hit for a target zone right there. Almost to the dollar. So if you guys got any altcoins that you guys want looked at while we're doing this, shout them out there. Go to our alt request. No, we already took care of those. Okay, so Gelmo here, he wants to know what Walton Chain is looking like. Well, Gelmo, I would say Walton Chain looks like shit now. Alright, so this is the key spot right here that Walton Chain needs to hold. And it's really testing on it right now already. So you got that wick there, and you got that wick there, and we're right now testing it there. So this has got to be, this has got to hold here. Where is WTC? So going back down to about 800 Satoshi, it's got decent bid support. It is horribly thin beneath that, but that doesn't mean that it could dump. If it breaks below 800, it could trigger the bots to turn the bots on and throw up some bids. It's still pretty thin going back up, really thin, going back up close to 900. So for Walton Chain, this has to hold over 800. Now, again, this MACD, yes, it's getting a small reset right here. You can see it wanting to go under bear, but look at the overall trend of the MACD. It's still bull. So Walton Chain would have to just get this quick little reset and then hold up here, and then it could get another bull push there. That's usually the way this works here. If it fails here, it doesn't mean that it's going to go all the way back down here, because this overall trend is still in a bullish direction, so that would be a bullish divergence. Indicators increasing as price is kind of just flattening out, but it still stands. 800 has to hold. It has to hold over 800 for Walton Chain. Let's see what Ren is doing. Ren, I noted this was a good place to take profits right off of previous resistance zones, historical resistance zone. So far, this is right on track. My support zone disappeared. Right there at about 595 off of the tops here, tops here, tops here. So this would be a good place to catch a bounce. We want to see we want to see Ren try to catch a support right here. So far, Ren was pretty well spot on. Got that one tiny little wick, one tiny little push right above that resistance zone. But overall, it's on a downtrend reaching as low as 17% below where it was advised to take profits. Link was another one. why keeps deleting my notes? So Link had the exact same thing, and I'm laughing that I got trolled for this. Try to help people and you get trolled. Okay, so clear respect of the rejection of this trend line. Now I only had a top though, of course, up here, I think 260 or something, right off the top of this somewhere. 261 I think was my original target for profits on the back. If I can get this fucking thing to load. It's not wanting to load. Son of a bitch. Alright, screw you then. Okay, so Link did reject. Now, it was noted that for support, what we want to see is we want to see right at the bottom of this confluence cluster right here, right around $2, $2.10 mark. So we want to see a bounce to retest this wick right here. So we could, and we are missing a bounce. This is not a good enough bounce on the daily from right here on this dump up here. So we're still downtrending. I do expect, like Bitcoin, to come down and consolidate a little bit, get another push up, and we'll likely want to see a dead cat bounce under 250. And then if the trend continues, if we catch the rejection there, it'll snake its way back down going into spring to break this $1.50 mark area. So this was a good follow. If anybody remembers, all the way up here at all-time highs, we called the top up here, and then it was just noted over the next 2 months that we were looking for that $1.50, $1.70 mark. And yes, it took 2 months to get there, but it hit dead on. It was a great call, and I only had a top of like 260 or so for the bounce, and it hit just a wee bit higher, almost close to $3. So we still are for Chainlink on the dollar pair, so you can see the MACD trying to just kind of grind out and trying to just kind of bleed down and get the reset into the support zone. Move that out of the way there. So this is what I fully expect, and it looks like it's so far right on track too. So I don't think that this is going to pop right here yet on these lower time frames, sure. But the higher time frames are still showing in a downtrend, so I think we're going to come back down, maybe retest this wick closer to, you know, $2, $2.10 or so, and then we should catch a bounce back up to about 250 to meet the top of this confluence zone and then reject. And I say that because look at the drop candle on the weekly. Let me zoom in just a wee bit here. Okay. So this was a harsh wick rejection right there on the weekly. Now this you can probably compare to the rejection on Bitcoin at 14,000 or so when we just dropped 20%. And then we got another inside bar, well, that's not inside bar anymore because we got that wick up top there. But it's still a nice hard rejection, a bearish weekly candle to follow. Look at the MACD. The MACD is still way up here. I don't know why people think it's going to just continue to go back up and just never fall down. But look at your OBV. Solid downtrend. So we do have another weekly candle here in about 6 hours. So over the next couple weeks, I expect this to just kind of trickle down and get that reset. RSI is still in a downtrend too. Two-week. Nothing about 2 weeks says we're Link is going to any kind of all-time highs again. Now there's not much chart history as far as the indicators go, but look where the RSI is. This is still very high. We're still at 60. So this has to come down, and it will come down for a reset. So since all-time highs, Link has pretty well been spot on. We called the top. We called the bottom of the support here at 150 to 170. it just pushed just a wee bit higher than the original resistance zone that we had called. Again, we had 260, 261 called for the bounce, and we hit almost $3, so it's just a wee bit higher, about 10 to 12% higher. I wouldn't short it yet. I'd rather wait. I mean, because look where we are. If you try to short it now, I mean, yeah, that's good profit right there. Because I think FTX you can short it using 10x leverage, but I wouldn't quite short it yet because these are tweezer bottom candles right there. Now again, this is a 12-hour chart, so there's still 6 hours left in that candle, so a lot can still happen. But I would be hesitant to short it. I'd rather wait to see either one of these zones test first before choosing a position. Because right now, look where the price is. Okay, so this is the support line. This is the resistance line. So right now, price action is in that in-between zone. So if you're swing trading and you're not just quick scalping it, I wouldn't trade in the in-between zones. I'd wait for a rejection at the top of the resistance, or wait for support hold at the bottom of the support and then long there. I wouldn't take a trade in the center between two zones. Let me put that into perspective right here. Okay, so this is your resistance, tops of candle confluences, bottom support confluence, price action in the dead center. I wouldn't. I'd be very cautious taking a position in either direction because it could kind of go either way on you. Low time frames could dump it, and low time frames could also pump it if you try to long it or short it. So I would wait to see which zone gets hit first, and then take the trade accordingly. But never in between confluence zones. That's a recipe for disaster. So that's what I see for Link, and I think that's going to play out as I'm predicting here, because those high time frames, the weekly, 2 week, just don't support going to all-time highs again. I'm expecting a dead cat bounce somewhere up here to this 250 range, and then by spring, just kind of slowly bleed out back down all the way to maybe $1, 80 cents or so. I want to see it come back and test this support zone down here. Now, Link is a great project. I'm not saying anything negative about the project. It's super solid fundamentally, but so was EOS, so was ZRX, so was BAT, XLM, ADA, all of them all had solid fundamentals. All of them had big money backing. All of them had big market caps, and every single one of them also fully corrected. So there's no reason that Link isn't going to do the same at some point. That's the way the game is played. So we play the charts, not hopium and all that other stupid shit. So eventually, Link will have to come down and test this between 80 and $1 mark to catch its reset. Somewhere in there. And we'll do this. Turn that green for support. Oops, that's not what I wanted. So I would say probably sometime by spring, this will just kind of trickle its way down, and we'll see how that's going to play out. But that's what the weekly and 2 week chart is showing at this moment. Now again, if anything were to change, then we'll play it in both directions because we can play margins on Link. Okay, what else you got? Any other calls out there that you guys want looked at while we're sitting here? If not, that's cool. No biggie. We'll call that an afternoon, and then we'll come back and we'll do some updates this evening on new weekly candles. All right, thanks guys.